Let's jump right in. Welcome back, focused learners. I'm incredibly excited to have you here for today's explainer. Today, we're breaking down a literal game changer, Eric Ries's groundbreaking book, The Lean Startup. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur, a freelancer, a content creator, or, just somebody sketching out a huge idea on the back of a napkin, this explainer is going to completely reshape how you think about turning those ideas into reality. Now, I want you to sit with a kind of terrifying thought for a second. What if I told you that most startups fail not because they have terrible teams or buggy engineering, but because they build products nobody actually wants? Crazy, right? But it's true. The failure of a new business usually isn't about bad products. It's about wasting precious time, money, and sweat building things that customers simply do not value. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our chronological roadmap for solving this massive problem using the lean methodology. Why startups fail, the build, measure, learn loop, the minimum viable product, measuring progress, the power to pivot, and finally, our final verdict. Starting with section 1, why startups fail. Our core goal here, reducing uncertainty. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. At its absolute core, lean is all about taming the wild chaos of a new venture. Look at the left side, the traditional approach. It's like a giant gamble. Companies hide away, spending months or even years developing a product in total secrecy. They cross their fingers, they launch, and only then do they discover if there's an actual market for it. It's incredibly risky. Now, look at the right side, the lean approach. Instead of betting the house on a grand reveal, startups should operate way more like scientific experiments. You build something small, test it, learn, and improve quickly to discover what customers truly value before you invest heavily. Moving right along to section 2. The build, measure, learn loop, the ultimate engine of growth for any idea. Let's move to and see how this builds into the most famous concept from the entire book. This loop is the continuous heartbeat of any successful project. Step 1. Build. You create a basic, bare-bones version of your product. Step 2. Measure. You put it in the hands of real people and observe exactly how they use it. Not how you hope they use it, but how they actually do. And step 3. Learn. You analyze that data and figure out what needs to change. Then you repeat the cycle. The fundamental rule here, speed. The faster a company runs this loop, the faster it succeeds. Which brings us to a vital mantra from Ries. Learning, not just building, is the real goal. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking, hey, I'm writing code, or I'm shooting videos, or I'm spending money, so I must be making progress. Actually, scratch that. Traditional metrics like hours worked or money spent, they are completely meaningless without real learning. If you aren't learning about your customer, you aren't actually growing. All right, section 3, the minimum viable product. This is your specific toolkit to start the loop. So how do we actually jumpstart this learning process? Well, it begins with the most influential idea in the whole book, the minimum viable product, or MVP. Let's demystify this piece of jargon. An MVP is literally just the simplest version of a product that lets you test a key assumption. Think about Zappers for a second. The founder didn't build a massive warehouse first. No way. He just took photos of shoes at local stores and posted them online to see if anyone would even click buy. You've got to launch early, get feedback, and improve later. Waiting for perfection, that is the enemy of learning. Let's make this super concrete with some rapid-fire examples. An MVP doesn't have to be some highly polished app. It could be a simple landing page just to see if people give you their email. It could be a cardboard prototype. It could be a basic app with literally one single feature. It could even be a manual service where you do the work by hand behind the scenes, pretending it's an automated software. Remember, the purpose of an MVP isn't to impress customers. The sole purpose is to learn from them. And what exactly are we trying to learn here? We're hunting for validated learning. This means making sure every single experiment directly answers one absolutely crucial question. Are we building something customers actually want? And here's the kicker. If the answer to that question is no, finding that out on day 14 instead of year 4, that is a massive, highly measurable business outcome. Discovering you're wrong early is a huge win. Next up, section 4, measuring progress, which brings us to innovation accounting. Because look, building an MVP is completely useless if you don't know how to track your progress effectively. Notice the stark difference here between what looks impressive and what actually matters.
On the left, we've got vanity metrics, total downloads, raw page views, social media followers. Honestly, these numbers look incredible on a chart, but they don't give you any meaningful insights. But on the right, actionable metrics, customer retention, conversion rates, repeat purchases. These are the metrics that actually help you make better decisions.
This right here is the core of innovation accounting. Think about it. A startup could spend 6 months building 3 wild new features, but if no one uses them, is that progress? Nope. Spending 6 months on unused features is not progress. Real progress is tracked by focusing purely on customer behavior, genuine growth, retention, engagement, and conversion rates. Tracking these specific things is what reveals if you're truly moving in the right direction.
Which brings us to Section 5. The power to pivot, our next critical tool. So, the crucial point is, what happens when your experiments prove your original, brilliant idea just isn't working out? That brings us to the pivot. A pivot is a strategic change based directly on evidence and validated learning. It's adjusting your direction while keeping the big vision alive. And let's be super clear, pivoting is not giving up. Flexibility is a massive competitive advantage. And listen, with AI tools and the sheer speed of online business today, these lean methodologies aren't just for tech startups anymore. Just look at this list. These concepts apply directly to your own projects and side hustles. Whether you're running a small local business, growing a YouTube channel, launching an e-commerce store, freelancing, or building a personal brand, these principles are totally universal. Finally, Section 6, the final verdict. Let's look at the overall value, strengths, and weaknesses. It's time to impartially break down the pros and cons of the source text so you know exactly what to expect if you read it yourself. On the strength side, this framework is just incredibly practical. It forces you to use your resources efficiently, and it replaces dangerous guesswork with real-world experimentation. On the weakness side, honestly, the book can get a little repetitive, driving its points home. Also, the examples lean very heavily on tech companies, so you might have to do a bit of mental translation for other industries. And lastly, if you're looking for a literal, step-by-step startup manual on how to file paperwork, this isn't it. It's a strategic framework, not a tactical checklist. But those minor weaknesses absolutely do not diminish its value. We give the Lean Startup Framework a highly positive 9 out of 10. It is a true must-read framework that will undoubtedly save creators and entrepreneurs immense amounts of time, money, and frustration by forcing them to confront reality early. If you take only one thing away from this entire explainer, let it be this: don't assume, test, learn, adapt. Success is not about having the perfect idea right out of the gate. It's a continuous, rigorous process of continuously learning exactly what your customers need. Which leaves us with a final, provocative question for you. What will you build, measure, and learn today? Think about a project you're working on right now. How can you test your biggest assumption by the end of the day? I encourage you to leave your biggest takeaways in the comments, and more importantly, apply this framework to your very next venture. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and we'll see you in the next explainer.